The movie begins in the future where Logan, known as Wolverine, is aging and losing his healing abilities. He lives far away from civilization in New Mexico and works as a limo driver. His daily life is a struggle to survive in a world where mutants have all but disappeared. Logan cares for the sick and aging Professor X, Charles Xavier, whose mental faculties have become unstable. The professor, suffering from uncontrollable mental outbursts, warns Logan of a storm on the horizon. Their interaction expresses the weariness and heaviness of years gone by. Logan's routine is altered by the appearance of a mysterious girl named Laura, who possesses mutant powers similar to Wolverine. Logan finds himself drawn into the events surrounding Laura and begins to realize that his past will forever leave an imprint on his future. Logan and Professor X encounter a mysterious girl named Laura, who has remarkably similar mutant powers to Wolverine. Over time, it becomes clear that Laura is a clone of Logan, created in the secret labs of the Transigen organization. She carries his DNA and, like him, has outstanding fighting skills and the ability to heal quickly. The Transigen organization is a sinister force dedicated to creating killer mutants. Transigen's goal is to control and manipulate mutants to create super soldiers. Logan, Professor X, and Laura find themselves in a dangerous game with this organization that will stop at nothing to achieve its goals. As the heroes encounter Transigen agents, they are forced to join forces to survive and protect Laura from danger. After Logan, Professor X, and Laura realize the danger that Transigen poses to them, they decide to embark on a journey. Their destination is a mythical place called Eden, a safe haven for mutants where they can live free and unthreatened. Along the way, they encounter various obstacles, both physical and emotional. The Transigen organization is doggedly pursuing the group to bring Laura back to their labs. The pursuit leads to a series of tense scenes and battles where the characters are forced to use their skills to survive. The journey also becomes a time for discussion and interaction between the characters. Logan and Professor X are forced to face their own mental demons, while Laura begins to display her own mutant abilities, unlocking her potential. As the journey progresses, the group also encounters other mutants who help or become an obstacle in their journey. All of this creates a tense and exciting atmosphere, where each leg of the journey becomes a new challenge for Logan, Professor X, and Laura. As the journey progresses, it becomes clear that Professor X's mental health is becoming increasingly unstable. The professor, who possesses powerful psychic abilities, becomes a source of danger to those around him due to his unstoppable mental outbursts. His telepathic powers, which were previously used for the good of the mutants, now become something that cannot be controlled. The professor's mental outbursts cause destruction all around him, posing a serious threat to both the heroes and those who happen to be nearby. Not only do these outbursts create physical dangers, but they also add to the emotional and psychological strain within the group. In light of this, Logan and Laura are forced to seek support from other mutants, hoping to find those who can help Professor X. This leads to meeting different characters from the mutant world, each with their own issues and strategies for surviving in this world where they are increasingly becoming a threat to society. This period of the film not only emphasizes the darker side of mutations, but also escalates the internal conflicts and trials that the characters face in their quest for Eden. This phase of the movie Logan reveals the past of the main character Wolverine. Through flashbacks, viewers get an in-depth look at his life, trials, and tragedies. Logan faces his own demons as he recalls moments of pain, loss, and sacrifices he has made in his long and difficult life. These memories span the period of wars, the Weapon X program, his involvement in various conflicts, and the darker sides of his own mutation. Through this dive into Logan's past, the movie reveals the complex aspects of his character, his inner conflict, and the constant pain he faces. Rather than simply providing the audience with action scenes, the filmmakers aim to emphasize the emotional depth and psychological complexity of the character. This point plays an important role in Logan's character development and gives him new layers of humanity, making him more realistic and empathetic to the audience. At this point in the movie, the tension reaches its peak as the main characters face their adversaries and the danger to Laura becomes more than real. Donald Pierce, the leader of the Transigen organization, and his assassins, including Racer, are doggedly pursuing the group. Tension between Logan and the Transigen agents escalates as he realizes that Laura is at the center of the conflict and her kidnapping poses an urgent threat. Logan, already weakened physically and emotionally, is forced to take it upon himself to fight to save the girl and his latest offspring. The fight scenes become uncompromising and tense. In this series of events, Logan, despite being worn out, is forced to use all of his skills and strength to deal with the superior enemy forces and save Laura. This episode of the movie not only highlights Logan's physical strength, but also shows his inner struggle and determination to protect those he considers his family. The battle with the transigen agents reaches its peak, and tragic losses occur as a result. Logan, Professor X, and Laura face fierce resistance from their enemies, and the price of the fight proves to be high. The events in this segment of the movie cause not only physical suffering but also emotional loss for the main characters. Logan, who is still not fully recovered from his previous struggles, finds himself at the center of the storm where his abilities are severely tested. Crucial moments lead to the characters realizing how high the stakes are in their quest for Eden. As they struggle, it becomes clear that the price of freedom and safety for mutants may be too high. This period is also the culmination of Logan's internal struggle as he faces a decisive moment in his destiny. Tragic events force him to rethink his role and purpose in this world, and questions about humanity and morality become more pressing. The final battle surrounding the search for Eden becomes a point of no return for Logan and his companions. The group continues their journey to the mythical place, hoping for safety and freedom, but the transigen agents and their forces persistently pursue them. At this time, the physical and emotional exhaustion becomes more and more palpable. Logan's powers are waning, his healing abilities not as effective as they once were. The injuries from his previous bouts are beginning to take a serious toll on his body. Professor X, suffering from his mental problems, is also in a state of deterioration. The battle becomes increasingly desperate, and each member of the group is forced to fight not only for their lives, but also for their freedom. At this time, the final cards are revealed, and the battle scenes are filled with intensity and emotional intensity. This stage of the film emphasizes not only Logan's physical weakness, but also his inner conflict and determination to reach the end despite all the hardships and threats. At this point in the movie, Logan, though physically and mentally exhausted, enters the final battle. The fight reaches its climax where Logan faces off against the transigen assassins and Donald Pierce in a last, desperate attempt to protect Laura and get her to safety. In this battle, Logan shows all his fighting skills and stamina, but his body, worn down by time and injury, is unable to fully cope with the attack. The tragic fatigue and struggle with his physical limitations make this moment all the more difficult and moving. In the end, Logan faces a serious threat to Laura, and in an attempt to protect her, becomes a victim himself. The tragic outcome becomes the final part of his long and difficult journey. This moment leaves a strong emotional impact on the viewer, as the famous superhero leaves the world with a feat and a victim behind him. Thus, the movie Logan ends in a dark and emotional way, leaving the audience with mixed feelings and the impression that even superheroes are not immune to hardship and loss. After the conclusion of the final battle and Logan's tragic death, the movie Logan devotes time to revealing the aftermath of these events. The emotional heaviness is felt not only by the surviving characters, but also by the audience as they are imbued with the loss of one of the most iconic superheroes. Laura, who survived the loss of her father, is faced with grief and the uncertainty of her future. This moment also highlights her strength and perseverance as she is forced to continue her journey, but without Logan, who has been a source of protection and direction for her. Professor X, left alone, continues to struggle with his mental health issues and faces tough questions about the meaning of his life and his role in the world. These emotional moments reveal the inner struggles and experiences of the surviving characters. Ultimately, the film comes to its emotional conclusion, leaving the audience with mixed feelings, heavy grief, but also the realization that Logan's story was unique and profound, and that his sacrifice left an irreparable hole. This ending of the film emphasizes the theme of humanity, vulnerability, and the price one pays for freedom and meaning in life.